Welcome to Goodwood, a show about board games. Today we're looking at Azul, or Azul. Is it going to stay on my shelf, or do I need to find a nuclear waste bin to throw it in? Let's find out. Azul, meaning blue in Portuguese, is a tile-laying game for 2 to 4 players. Inspired by the lavish interior decor of the Alhambra Palace in southern Spain, King Manuel I of Portugal wants the Royal Palace of Evora to be decorated as well. The winner is the person who has the most points on their score track by the end of the game, making them the best tile-laying artist in the whole of Portugal. Each player has their own board, with a number of pattern lines or building tracks on the left, and an empty wall ready to be filled with tiles on the right. The game consists of rounds, where the players take turns. On your turn, you take all of the tiles of a particular colour from a plate and place them on a single pattern line. If by the end of the round that line is full, one of those tiles will move across to your finished wall. All the tiles that you didn't pick from the plate will move off to a shared area from which you can also pick tiles from in future turns. At the end of a round, you can score points based on the formed rows and columns that your newly placed tiles make. For example, this completed row of 3 blue tiles means I can move 1 across to the wall. That blue tile has formed a row of 2 and a column of 3, giving me a total of 5 points for that tile placement. Go me. Simple enough. But Azul is full of tense decisions, because your choices can also lose you points. Remember the rules of taking tiles I said earlier. You have to take all the tiles of that colour from the plate, or the shared area, and you can only place them on a single pattern line. You can't share them between different lines. If you have too many, all the excess go onto the floor, and each space filled on the floor cumulatively punishes you with negative points, which could undo all the hard work you've done that round, even lowering your score overall. That's not the only restriction. Once your finished window has a tile of that colour on a row, you can no longer put that coloured tile on that pattern line ever again. And often towards the end of a round, there are a large number of one colour in the shared area, and the round only ends when all the tiles have been taken. It then becomes a race to not be the person who has to take loads of useless tiles at the end. The game ends after a round where someone has completed a row on their wall. Then there is final scoring, with more points for every completed row, column and colour in your window. What do I like? I love competition in board games, whether that's direct or indirect. I feel board games are a great way of bringing people physically closer together, and I'm not particularly fond of sitting in silence for 2 to 3 hours. This phenomenon is often described as multiplayer solitaire. Azul could be falsely mistaken for being a multiplayer solitaire game, but that belies the true game within. Azul is not only about figuring out how to make a pretty tiled wall, it's also about manipulation of turn order. Being the last person to pick tiles in a round is usually bad, because you have to take a swathe of tiles you really don't have space for. Say I know that my opponent, Mrs. Stop, has nowhere to feasibly put those 7 blue tiles. How can I make sure she is last so she has to take them? If I take those yellow tiles, then there'll be 2 more turns in the round. But if I take the blue tile, then there'll be 3 more turns in the game. That could change everything. Further competition comes with tactically deciding when to end the game. Remember, the game doesn't end after a fixed number of rounds. It only ends when someone completes a row on their wall. Say I'm losing on points. I may intentionally choose to avoid completing this row so that I can end the game when I'm winning. These examples are a long-winded way of saying there is plenty of indirect competition here, and because of this, Azul reveals itself to be a fierce and nimble game at 2 players. It's wonderfully replayable and is quick to explain and play, even at higher player counts. It's even got an advanced mode on the reverse of your player board, where you have more freedom in how you build your window. The production quality is good, with satisfyingly tactile tiles with lovingly designed patterns, and the game can be found for as low as £20 at the moment. What do I not like? Players who don't like negative choices where you screw over other players may not engage with the competitive elements of this game, and reduce Azul to being less than it can be. It's not got the staying power to fill a whole game's night, but then again it's not designed to be. It could possibly have been improved with dual layered player boards like in Calico, but there is an expansion to Azul, Crystal Mosaic, that contains a plastic overlay which does much the same. Doesn't look as nice though. Azul also has some re-implementations and spin-offs. 5211, the card game, Azul Master Chocolatier, and Azul also spawned a series including Stained Glass of Sinatra, Summer Pavilion, and Queen's Garden. If you like Azul, I'd recommend Splendor, which I've already reviewed on this channel, Sagrada, Santorini, Hive, and the huge number of Tetromino games on the market, such as Baron Park and Patchwork. I'm keeping Azul. It's elegantly designed, quick to play, and can be just as mean as you want it to be. The theme is inoffensive, so it's not difficult trying to convince people to play. Give it a go on BoardGameArena.com if you want to try before you play. Goodwood is not sponsored by any board game companies, and all games are purchased by myself. If you like this video, please subscribe to this channel for more. Just click on the Goodwood logo you can see right now. See you next time.